Welcome back everyone to another Bitcoin update, and in this video we have some interesting developments that are starting to take place. So with that being said, let's get right to it. And we have seen a bit of a push even higher today for Bitcoin, which was super nice. We were talking about last video that it would just look very nice liquidity wise too if we do go a little bit higher. I still would like to see a little bit higher to at least 74, 75,000 just due to the liquidity zone there and liquidity being built up. But there's an interesting thing happening with premiums that are starting to go from super negative to more of the neutral bullish side, which is a good sign for a possible correction or a local top in place. So that doesn't mean it has to happen right away like we had for when it was super bearish. For about a day or so it was just kind of sideways and down. So that doesn't mean as soon as it goes positive, or it's barely positive, but that doesn't mean if it goes super positive, doesn't mean we have to go straight down. We could very well go up for a little bit before getting a correction. Now it's not guaranteed, but that's typically what a premium suggests, and we will go over that. But really quickly, we'll go over both scenarios. This white scenario is just the speculation in which we have been talking about. It is the more likely case at the moment, just because we technically have a 5-wave move up. I would love to see a little bit higher to get this liquidity up here. I think that would look very, very nice overall. And then if we do get a correction, we could look for a 3-wave move down. If we even get it, the support zone, it will have to depend on where this local top is. So the higher that this price goes, the higher that our support zone also goes as well. Now, there is a chance that all of this could just be part of a larger correction for a 4th wave bounce, and maybe we go back even lower in a more, I guess, intense sell-off for a lower low below 60,000. Otherwise, this zone between 60 to 66,000, even some trend lines we have been bouncing off of, like there's one within this area, we very well could come back down to retest it before going higher. That's totally possible as well. Otherwise, if we do break below this zone here, then we could possibly try again within this area on working on a structure back up. So we'll kind of have to wait and see for how that plays out. But so far on the weekend, we have seen a bit of a push up. It is low volume weekend, so wouldn't really expect anything too crazy to come, but that is obviously, of course, very nice to see. Now, we are tracking a larger B wave bounce. So it's totally possible that this could be all of that B wave bounce if we keep going higher, or that's just something that we need to be aware of. What we want to see is a 3-wave move if we even get it, and if we go into support, we want to hold support and we want to bounce off from support in that 5-wave move for a more powerful 3rd waves, just because 3rd waves are typically a little bit more powerful for Elliot wave. And that would overall, if we do go a little higher, that would be a nice 1-2 setup to the upside. So that should be pretty interesting to see how that would develop as well. If we head over to the RSI, there isn't really anything too crazy, any divergences on the 1 hour or those shorter time frames. However, I've noticed too on the 4-hour chart that bearish divergence is still within play on the 4-hour chart. So maybe we break it and we go a little bit higher. That would definitely be nice to see. But overall, it does kind of seem like we are getting higher lows on this RSI chart as well. So that's pretty interesting to see. And on the daily, same thing we've pretty much been talking about. That same trend line we were literally talking about since December, November, and January is this daily trend line. It just kind of comes across. If we do hit that trend line again, then we probably could hit it around the close to the overbought, around more likely around 68, 69. Maybe we go a little bit into the overbought zone before getting that rejection, because sometimes trend lines, they can break up, they can break out of the trend line, but then get rejected and go lower. So if we do see it go past the trend line and then we see a rejection, it's not really surprising to see that as well. Now on the liquidity, we are now massively long compared to short. We still have this liquidity up here. I think would look very nice if we do come back, or if we do come and liquidate this, just because then it would truly create a very nice 5-wave move up to the upside, and there would be decent liquidity on the downside. We could come back to liquidate, and it would overall would look better if for a short opportunity as well for those that do scalp trades. Obviously, it's not guaranteed, it's not financial advice, but it's just something that would be another indicator for those that follow that. But obviously, nothing is guaranteed. Now, what we could look for is, yeah, we could look for a push into that 74, 75,000 would be very awesome to see as well. And if we head over to the heat map, yeah, we still just have this small liquidity above us at 74 to 75,000 range. And then obviously this liquidity below us around 69,000, which could get hit in a second wave move down. Now I want to find the premium. This is the order book. Nothing, it's a weekend. The orders are kind of lower from what I notice. Open, is this open? Nope. This is the funding rate. Funding rate has gone from, so you can see a pattern here. When things are super negative, it's not surprising to not see a dump. Maybe we see a little bit of a dump, but it shouldn't be anything insane. And then what happens is we usually get a pump afterwards. So this was kind of an indicator that market was heavy short, and it's not really surprising to see this pump up. And what's nice to see is now we're slowly going up, and now we are within the positive range. So if we can go a little bit higher to 74, 75,000, we can get funding rate higher, more positive, then that could be another indicator that a possible local top, doesn't have to be a top in that B wave, just a local top in the first wave. That would be awesome to see as well. And open interest has gone for another higher high, which is awesome to see. We are getting higher highs on open interest, so that's good for the sustained pump. Even on a weekend to get a higher high, that's very nice to see. And on the Coinbase premium index, typically when we hit positive, it's a sign, it's a very early sign of a possible top that is being closed. Doesn't mean as soon as you hit green, now there has to be a top. You can see here, I mean, we hit green and then we went up again for another $3,000 on Bitcoin. So it's just a very early sign to see, especially when it's at the highest it has been really since early March. So that's another indicator too as well. So that is pointing very nicely for that as well. And same thing for here. Funding rate was super negative. Now it's starting to go down a little bit, which again, that is very nice to see. And yeah, overall, what can we expect over the next 24 hours? Well, it's a weekend. I know we've had that little bit of a pump. So anything can really come, especially with the negotiations as well. So over the next 24 hours, it's likely we might just chop around again and just kind of go sideways. However, when the new trading week comes, maybe tomorrow, Sunday, when we open for the market for futures, maybe we go a little bit higher in the short term before getting a possible 3-wave correction. It's not guaranteed we get that correction. It's not needed. A support zone is not a magnet, but it's just something to look out for. Obviously, the more swing lows that we start to break here at 72,500, this one here at 71,400, again at 70,472, more and more swing lows that start to break, then it's possible that this wave 1 could have topped and we could be in a 3-wave move down. However, if we do see a more of a direct sell-off, then we very well could go back to range movement as well. But there is also a trend line, not just on this local level, but on the higher level as well. This trend line that's we've kind of been bouncing off of multiple times. So if we do go back down to that trend line, it would make a higher low. So it would kind of make sense if this is the invalidation point, 1, 2, bounce off that trend line and go up. I mean, it would work very well for a 1-2 setup. So there's just a lot of things that you have to look out for, and different trend lines, support, resistance, swing high, swing lows, all the different indicators. And yeah, so that's pretty much everything for this video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.